Joining me now is Melissa Constanzer. She's a senior broadcast meteorologist at AccuWeather. Melissa, thanks again for joining us. Now, what's left for Fiona and what are you forecasting for Hurricane Ian? How common is it to have one system like this after the other?
Well, Fiona is actually non-existent anymore. It's actually well into Canada, moving into the Arctic Circle. There's still some energy and wind with it, but not a lot where people live. Then we have Ian that we have to focus on, and that is pretty intense too to talk about. So we do definitely want to get to that. But these kinds of things start to happen through this time of year in the Atlantic Basin because we have so much warm water. So September, we're expecting to see that. We'll begin with Tropical Storm Ian here, which continues to work its way through the Caribbean. And as it moves through, it's going to get a little bit more organized here. There's a lot of warm water to help fuel it. That's like food for this storm system. And for it, we are expecting those winds to massively ramp up as it strengthens towards a hurricane, which it will do over the upcoming days. By Tuesday morning, it could be a major hurricane. So very powerful storm system here working northward through the southern Gulf of Mexico. And then it starts to push its way towards the United States, too. So we'll have impacts in Cuba and the United States with this that are significant as it tries to make landfall pretty close to Cuba, if not on Cuba, and then again in the United States. So Cuba, we are expecting storm surge to come with that. And so that will push in some places picking up 3 to 6 feet as far as storm surge. But what we also know is this storm is going to be strengthening as it moves over because it's got so much warm water and not a lot of wind shear elsewhere out there. So there's nothing really to help destroy it or weaken it at all as it works its way through the northwestern Caribbean. And it continues to push northward here right into Tuesday. And then from Tuesday, what happens? Well, it's going to catch the connection with this trough. There's a lot of cool air over the eastern U.S. Feels almost like October, and this is going to pull this storm and push it off towards the east in some capacity. How much is still a little questionable, but we do know that it's likely going to make landfall somewhere along the coast of Florida, the Gulf Coast of Florida, and push its way northward, weakening a little bit as it moves northward, but winds will still be very powerful. This will create likely some power outages in the Sunshine State, and we'll also have substantial winds possible for far western Cuba. And then the rainfall, that's going to be another risk. We could see rainfall and even some mudslides through western Cuba with heavy rain. And then as you work your way north, we're talking several centimeters here of heavy rainfall through portions of Florida and into southern Georgia, even the Atlantic coastline of the U.S. So lots of impacts.
And on the other side of the globe, Philippines is on red alert as Typhoon Noru makes landfall there. What kind of conditions is it bringing with it and where is it forecast to go?
I can't say I'm that well versed on the typhoons. I've been focusing mostly on the Atlantic, but there are, again, very powerful storm systems this time of year in the Pacific.
Thank you very much for your time there. Melissa Constanzer for us from AccuWeather.